grade. And we'll start with the spotlight.
I'm so honored to present our spotlights for this month. We are going to start with a student spotlight. Ashlyn Stoddard, third grade student, come on up. What staff say about Ashlyn? Ashlyn is very thoughtful and kind. When Ashlyn notices someone needs help, she is always the first to lend a helping hand. She loves to help students with a concept that might be tricky and show them a way to figure it out. She has a lot of patience and genuinely likes to help. Ashlyn also enjoys helping me out in class no matter what the task. Ashlyn always tries her best in school and likes to be challenged. She is also a phenomenal artist and is very creative. I enjoy looking at the creation she makes, and I'm always awestruck at the details in her drawings. Ashlyn is overall a great student and friend. What students say about Ashlyn? Ashlyn is kind, careful, loving, and supportive. Ashlyn is nice, funny, smart, and helpful. Congratulations, Ashlyn.
Sit in the back.
Our next student spotlight is Joseph Colossi, sixth grade student. What staff say about Joseph? Seth has had a great start to his first year of middle school so far. He has been a pleasure to have in class during discussions because he is always willing to share his thoughts on whatever topic is being discussed. Seth has also shown that he is a responsible student and shows respect for his teachers and his classmates. Seth is a wonderful example of a Discovery student. He is thoughtful and inquisitive. He asks questions and finds creative solutions to problems. Seth is a great advocate for himself and never hesitates to ask for help when he needs it. He strives to excel academically and engage in his community in a positive way each day. What students say about Joseph? When he came to Discovery, we became friends right away. He is really nice. He is very honest. He would never lie to anyone. Congratulations to Joseph. Next up, we have our volunteer spotlight. Andy Jans Davis, come on up. Andy is the parent of Maya and Jasper. What Pat says about Mrs. Jans Davis. Andy's passion for the world starts with her passion for sustainability. After not having a sustainability committee for quite a few years, she jumped in to kickstart the PAC committee and quickly became the representative on the staff committee. She has great ideas and is always looking for ways to better Discovery that in turn betters the world for all of us. I've learned so much from her sustainability tips and know where to go if I have questions about recycling. Outside of sustainability, Andy is always one to jump in where needed and when needed, especially if you ask with desperation. You will find her helping on Popcorn Fridays, doing car line, copying, or helping in the classroom. Andy is a perfect example of lead by example. She doesn't just tell you how to be sustainable or how to volunteer. She lives it and does so with a smile that makes us all convinced that we should go above and beyond for this earth. for our kids and be the difference we want to see in the world. Andy is such a valuable volunteer for Discovery. Her passion, knowledge, and energy make her the perfect person to head up our sustainability committee, which she does so well. She is friendly, selfless, always willing to pitch in, and so active, not just in our school, but the community at large. She is just so plain fun to be around. The world is a better place because of Andy. And I'm not done. She's on 2 pages. What staff say about Mrs. Jansavis? Andy Jansavis has been a Discovery family voice for sustainability at our school. As a parent volunteer, she has organized the complex task of waste-free lunch contest in the cafeteria, emptied and disposed of the contents of various bins of hard-to-recycle materials from the front hallway, and arranged the construction of our latest compost bin, to name a few of her contributions. We appreciate her joyful claim to be a tree hugger and her faithful reminders for Discovery to consider and implement sustainable and earth-friendly practices. Congratulations. Next up, we have a staff spotlight. Mrs. Annette Hansen, come on up. What staff say about Mrs. Hansen? Mrs. Hansen, beloved Discovery art teacher, and so much more. Whether it's art, bats, bees, bridges, car line, compost, conservation, dances, murals, yearbooks, Mrs. Hansen can do anything and is a willing collaborator on almost any endeavor. She is full of ideas, energy, enthusiasm, and positive thinking, and is always willing to learn and or try something new. She is fearless. Best of all, her love, respect, and encouragement for each and every person shines through all her work. We love you, Mrs. Hansen. Annette's enthusiasm and reach go way beyond the classroom. She is not afraid to be flexible so students can be successful. Annette does an amazing job of trying to find ways to reach each one of them and is eager to give the students and me feedback about how their time together went. She doesn't hesitate to tell me when a student goes above and beyond in her classroom. It is so very appreciated. What students say about Mrs. Hansen? When I was little, I didn't know how to draw. She taught me how to draw. I love her drawings. She draws plants, dragons, and cool animals. She teaches us how to draw these too. Congratulations, Mrs. Hansen. And we have another staff spotlight, Mrs. Carrie Swain. What staff say about Mrs. Swain? Carrie Swain is the most caring person I have ever met. Each day I'm reminded how lucky I am to have her as a teammate. She makes me feel heard and understood, no matter how silly the issue at hand. She offers truthful advice and speaks from experience. She is truly one of a kind, and we are so very fortunate to have her at Discovery. Mrs. Swain cares so much about each student. She is wonderful at forming meaningful relationships with her kiddos and families. She always finds ways to make learning fun for her class and is always willing to go the extra step to make things special. What students say about Mrs. Swain? She is the best teacher. She lets us do fun activities. She is kind and honest. Congratulations to Mrs. Swain. And a big round of applause for all our spotlights. Thank you. And if if you guys don't want to stay for the meeting, anyone that's here for the spotlights, feel free to go now. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. It was fun recognizing you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well deserved. Thank you.
All right. Lisa Gonzalez, present. Julie Tapp.
Suzanne Radzik.
Louise Tucker.
Kelly Hunt.
And then Jessica, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Approval of minutes from October. Did anyone have any changes?
Just my name, my last name, S-A-Y.
Oh,
I think I have to be on the.
did you get that, Jessica?
No, what'd you say? I couldn't hear very well.
Just Lori's last name at the end is S-A-Y.
All right, I'll make that change.
So I'll motion to approve pending that change.
I make a motion, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes for October approved. Financials.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We have 2 months to do today, and October, November. October was a good month. We had a surplus of $39,000 for the month, mostly due to receiving a lunch reimbursement that was a couple of months combined. That brought our year-to-date surplus for the 4 months ended October 31st to about $42,000. I have the tables, which I'll circulate, entertaining questions after we finish November. November is always a tough month for us. November, we have our so-called true-up for our student count. And it's going down the last couple of years from our budget starting point at 525 this year. We corrected to our September 14th count of 514. And so that true-up is done in November because we've been overpaid for 4 months prior to that. Last year, so let me get to the specific numbers, and also the retention bonuses and stipends hit in November. They're budgeted, so we budget for a loss in November. So November, for the month of November, we lost $58,000 against a budgeted loss of 60. So we do budget these bonuses.
You're ahead of budget.
We did better than we thought we would. Actually, so last November, you won't recall, I will, but we lost $121,000 last November, which was the beginning of a COVID hit that sustained us throughout the year. So you recall, a year ago, our count went from a July starting point of 535 to like 495, something like that. So our September count. So our basic grant last November got corrected downward by about $60,000. Okay, this year it was about $20,000. And then the next few months are corrected to the September count. So that goes down from our budget, which we started with at the beginning of the year as well. And then it corrected downward again at the end of last year. So our basic grant was eroded by about $260,000 last year, which combined with our increased salaries and overhead that was made possible by the federal COVID programs, we cruised into, expected a small surplus, but we cruised into a loss for the last year, just ended June 30th of 2021. Our audited loss, $38,000. Tried to prevent it, but that's what it was.
Is there another copy still?
Yeah, February. What's that?
I was just asking if there was still another count date.
Now, another count date will be corrected for that later in the fiscal year.
It'll be June, May, June.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not gonna be draconian anymore, right? We just took a big hit last year.
Yeah.
And we're not going to this year. So, again, so this year we lost $58,000 in November, 121 last year, which was a COVID hit, basically. And that brings our year-to-date through the 5 months ended November 30th to a loss of $16,000. So we're not forecasting any more big hits. We, of course, are expecting the surplus, if for nothing else, than our PPP loan of $507,000 will be forgiven. I'll update you on that in a minute. And that'll go to the income statement as basically another grant. So we are expecting a sizable surplus this year, what we've been expecting all year. So I think without any more erosion of the basic grant and some of the hits we took last year, we should be fine. So again, year-to-date through 5 months, we have lost $16,000, but we look for that to be positive throughout most of the year. And PPP loan forgiveness application was bounced last week. We had a couple of modifications that we had to make. We changed them this week and are resubmitting it. I expect to be notifying you of forgiveness before the end of the year. That's it. I have both months of payables, which I'll circulate. The RTC, I have no update on that. If you've talked to, I asked Cliff for an update, but best we know, all the applications have been submitted. The third quarter 941, which they did for us, had a refund claim of like $327,000. We were supposed to get in 6 weeks, so it's
2020 or
2021. So we filed that before the due date, okay? So when you filed
So it's on the 941.
we filed the 941 for the third quarter
Yeah.
by October 31st with a claim for the ERTC.
Nice.
That's supposed to come in 4 to 6 weeks. And that was a big one, but we didn't get it yet. So anyway, that's out there as well. That's it. Our balance sheet is still strong. Our cash position is strong. Our covenants, which I submitted to the bank, were gaudy this year, but our cash position is so good. And we finished the audit conference last week, and a little late. I had to intercede with Huntington Bank. The audit's supposed to be delivered by the end of November. It wasn't our fault that it wasn't. CLA just seems to have bit off a little bit more than they could.
Yeah,
Our
there was a little
audit-
more back and forth this year, and
Little-
some of it was a little bit redundant, like they were asking for things that we provided already.
Yeah.
And it wasn't our point people, it was other people who were making notes within the system that worked for CLA. So,
Is it because it was all virtual?
maybe. But it was people we've never even spoken to who were making these notes and questions and asking for documents. But some of it was a bit of redundancy because it was already provided or explained it was for people who actually weren't employees during that time. So a little more back and forth this year than the first year. So.
Right, it's always hard. Again, these people don't come here anymore, so they're working through this massive data collection system that they have. And they sign in from their home and look for the thing. And when they see things that you submitted, that you resubmit, it drives them crazy. Once they see something, they don't want to see it ever again. So we submitted a couple things that had previous submissions added on to transactions. They looked at it and said, oh my God, we can't do this. But we had to calm them down and say, you've already looked at almost all of this. These are the additional things that we're asking. Oh, okay. So anyway,
And so we uploaded the audit documents into the board documents folder. So the only findings were a few receipts that tax was reimbursed.
yeah, in spite of all the give and take and tug of war for the last 2 years, there's been 0 audit adjustments.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm not sure.
I don't know if it's us, I don't know if it's
I'm not
us,
sure,
it's effective auditing.
No, it's us, we're good.
Okay, so anyway, we bumped up against the deadline with the bond covenants this year. We have to insist that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Because we had to intercede with Tammy at Huntington Bank and say, where's the audit, where's the audit, where's the
Yeah.
audit?
Is that in
We
your,
get-
is it in your engagement letter with them?
Well, so the audit's provided on behalf of Ball State, so maybe it's a conversation we need to make sure
You know?
Ball State is aware of as well, so they can, on their end too, make sure that the deadlines are met. Because last year wasn't a problem, but,
That was a problem last
oh, it was a problem last
year.
year?
Yes, but Tammy didn't hound us for the,
Gotcha.
because we submitted drafts as soon as we got it. We submitted a draft in time for the end of November deadline. But she rightly said, that's fine, but drafts won't come.
Sure.
Yet last year I looked at it, because she said you had to post something on a public finance website if we didn't meet that. In fact, we can't have that, so.
So is there like any penalty or anything for not having, like, what happened because it was late?
It wasn't, nothing was posted. We interceded, and told them that the auditors we contacted last weekend, they said they'd get back, they had to hear back from the SBOA to get it finalized and blessed. And that was coming this week, and that seemed to be sufficient for Tammy not to do anything. I mean, we've been completely compliant with everything. She actually likes us, but she has to go by the letter of
Yeah.
of the covenant.
So next year,
Plenty
we
of
probably
time.
need to make sure we have a conversation with Marriott and Ball State, because she said in the exit meeting for the first time ever. I
She
don't
did.
think They've ever been part of those
Right.
meetings. So,
It's funny, we see a picture of the day, they're like, hi, I was like, oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
You have your images of what you think, and
Right.
I've met Marriott before, so I knew
I
what she
have,
looked
you know,
like,
it's just
but,
funny. like you
Well, we
see-
can't have, so we can't have that. We can't have that kind of
Yeah, that's
violation. We have to do everything we can to prevent it, and that's leaning on the auditors more than the ending. If we get put at the front of the queue or
Yeah.
something like that, then we have to do that.
So if it was a violation, is it monetary? Like, what is the,
Well, she posts something on this website for public finance. Well, the ultimate consequence, I think, is that it may affect our rating when the S&P people, we're not gonna ever do that again. So it really has, again, no serious consequences. But it's not something we want
it's
to.
more just like a public shaming.
Yeah.
The bad check writer on the wall.
But I mean, 5 months after the end of the year is sufficient time to get the audit done. We had their stuff when they needed it in September.
Yeah.
I think it's September, October. Anyway,
Yeah, and the dates they offered us, we picked a date and they said it should still be fine, so
yes.
we just maybe need to be a little more thoughtful when we pick dates next year too. But I'm sure reaching out to Ball State's not gonna hurt either.
Right.
anybody
Okay.
have any questions? on the financials? A motion to approve the October and November.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Lori, did you second it or?
Did you
I
second?
think my lease did, okay. I just knew it came from.
And that's the payables too, the other thing. Right, stipends, bonuses.
Yeah, and so all those stipends, bonuses were provided in the documents as well. So that was the teacher appreciation grant, which was from the Department of Education, paid out the 15th, so today. Winter bonus, Amazon gift cards were distributed this week. The after-school club, the additional responsibility stipends were paid out on the 30th, and then the annual certified retention bonus was paid out on November 15th, as Al mentioned. So 2 of those are routinely in November, which is why November traditionally is a negative month, which is why we budget for it.
Do we need that for permanent?
I mean, yes, I think they've already been processed, but just the formality of approving them as well. I believe is what my recommendation.
So I'll motion to approve all of the bonuses and stipends.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Was that my least who seconded?
Lori.
It was Lori. Lori.
You sounded like,
Yes.
You guys sounded like on the
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell it here.
All right, public comments? Great, no public comments. Items for discussion, recruitment. So we will, you guys, I sent you all the candidates. I was talking to Lori earlier last week, I think. We were just talking about the best way to interview candidates. And she had come up with the idea of having a rubric. So these are just some that I found online that I sent to you guys and then made copies of. We don't have to spend a ton of time discussing them, but if you guys have things that you want to add to it, or changes in verbiage, whatnot, or you hate them. Is that everybody like?
I think it sounds good. Yeah, it's a good idea.
So changes in verbiage, if you guys just wanna send it to me, and then I'll put it all together and then get you guys a draft of it. And then we could, at January's meeting, kind of put it in discovery
Okay.
readiness. And then, maybe interviews we'll plan for February. Or we could do a special interview meeting, we could decide that in January. And I did just let the candidates who have applied, know that we haven't forgotten about them and more info to come.
Okay.
Thank you, Liz. All right, internet.
Yeah, so in the board report, it is our current E-rate cycle for internet service is up. And so as part of that E-rate process, we have to put an RFP together, and put it out to bid. And so all of those documents are in the board documents folder. The finance working group met last Thursday to discuss. So we received 5 bids from Comcast, Frontier, ENA, NITCO, and Cogent. Currently, Cogent is our internet provider. We are getting 300 megabytes per second, up to 300 megabytes per second for $1,300 a month. The way E-rate works is they pay for half, we pay for half, so we're really only paying $750 a month for 300 megabytes. We had put the RFP together asking for scaled prices for 300, 500, and 1,000. And so we received those 5 bids. There is an evaluation rubric, which is also in the folder. And then, so looking at the different bids, I provided a summary for the working group to look at and refer to, because some of those documents are just repetitive words on a page. What it really comes down to is numbers and references and previous experience. So looking at everything, the way the evaluation rubric broke down was Cogent 82 points out of 100, Comcast 89 points out of 100, ENA 73 points out of 100, Frontier 75 points out of 100, and NITCO 61 points out of 100. So considering all that, the bid would be recommended to go to Comcast for internet. One of the factors in the evaluation in the RFP is construction. Currently, Cogent runs off of the Comcast loop, meaning they just piggyback on all the fiber optics that Comcast uses, essentially. So there would be no construction or major work that would have to be done. It would just be a matter of switching the boxes in the basement. So there'd be no hard transition process. So the question then was 300 megabytes, which we currently have 500 or 1,000. And talking with Levco, who provides our tech support, he thinks eventually we might need 1,000. But the way the RFP is written is we have the option over these next 5 years to change the amount of service we want or the amount of bandwidth we want. We just have to declare that at the beginning of the year in January to go into effect in July, the new year. So we're going to start with 500 megabytes and see how that goes for the next 2 years. Up to now, up to this date, the 300 has been perfectly fine. There's been no issues. But we can increase to 500, so get additional bandwidth and actually reduce the bill that we've been paying. Because at 500, it would be Comcast 500 a month would be $827. Currently, we're paying $1,300 for 300. So we kind of saw the same experience the last cycle because the way technology has improved, you're getting more bandwidth for less money. So we'll actually see a decrease in our Comcast bill starting July 1 because we would only be paying the $827 plus the $20 for the IP address, which is nothing. So we would be paying half of $847 for 500 every month.
And that's not something you can negotiate like during the term, like if you call them in 3 years and said,
Yeah, we just have to tell them. So the way the RFP is written,
oh, I mean the price.
no, I think the prices are locked in. Yeah.
Because we're considered the business account for it.
Yes.
So that's not.
Any other questions?
So, did the board just needs to formally approve Comcast?
I'll make a motion to approve Comcast.
I'll second the motion. This is my lead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion approved. All right, so matters for approval, the board officers. So we just need to vote, motion and vote for Jessica to take over as the vice president and Julie to take over as the secretary. So I'll make a motion that Jessica Lynch becomes our vice president. Do you want to finish this meeting, doing your notes, Jessica?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll second. This is Kelly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. And then I'll make a motion for Julie Check to become our secretary.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, congratulations. Superintendent contract, I sent it around. If you guys are good with it, we could go ahead and finalize it.
Yes,
All right.
finalize that, please.
Um,
I'll make a motion to finalize.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, call for a celebration. Bylaws.
So, going back to the bylaws, we had discussed if there needed to be additional verbiage in regards to board terms and the recruitment process. So, the policy working group met and we added 2 sentences. So it is under section 3, Board of Directors, section 1. We added the statement, all board member candidate interviews will be conducted in a public meeting of the Board of Directors, because it wasn't necessarily defined, the venue of those potential board member interviews. So we added that because it does need to take place in a public meeting. And then in the next paragraph, after a director may serve no more than 3 consecutive 3-year terms, we added the statement, at the conclusion of the first and second terms, a board member must be reinstated by a majority vote of the board. Again, just clarifying that process, because it shouldn't just roll into an automatic term. There does need to be a vote by the board with the majority voting an agreement that board member carries on to another term. So Monica's fine with both those statements, so it just needs to be voted upon.
I forgot we moved that.
Well, we didn't have a formal board meeting in November, so I think we met in November.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
we missed it.
So it's been a few weeks.
I'll motion to approve those.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. And then that we already did. School report.
Okay. Enrollment, so we're actually at 521 today. And I know there's at least one more student who's going to be starting after winter break.
Oh, great.
Several more tours, at least 2. Oh, you just placed 2. Okay, so 2 more at least. Today that were placed, so that number will hopefully sustain, if not continue to increase. Yeah.
Sorry guys, things are changing fast.
As of the 9th, there were 50 2022-2023 kindergarten lottery applications. That day we met, Jen looked it up, and there was only 30 last year. So, as of that date, so we're
I
at,
gave 2 tours today with Cindy's that we're gonna find.
yeah, so we're ahead of the curve there, in terms of kindergarten lottery applications. Facilities, one of the things that we've looked at and had our place-based staff committee look into was get some perspective on paper towels versus electric hand dryers. So we did receive some feedback from the place-based sustainability committee. We'll kind of review that and decide next steps on if we're gonna take any action or how to approach that. So the E-rate already, so the internet service. jumping ahead. Grants, so at this time, all grants have been submitted. Additional items, the year-end audit is complete. Exit call was Friday the 10th. A parent, Daniel Plath, reached out, curious about exploring preserving a nearby adjacent 11 acres. So I met with him, Chris Cross, and her first name's Louise, Mrs. Thompson, who works at the National Parks, she's also a parent, about what options there might be in exploring how to preserve that land for any future development.
Where's it at?
So it's south of us and east of us. So it's kind of like a W shape carving out those corner properties. So not the house, not either of the businesses on 20. It's all the other space between them and us. So it's all wooded space. So we had an initial call. The consensus was it would be best / easiest way to acquire it, for it to go in Shirley Hines' name, and then figure out a way that Discovery can assist Shirley Hines in possibly restoring and maintaining the space. But of course, it's not even for sale. It's just an idea on behalf of Mr. Plath in wanting to make sure that that area is preserved. So after winter break, Mr. Cross is going to try to get some more information on the property and see if he can reach out to the owners and see if they'd be interested in selling. So just an idea that's out there, and we'll see if anything comes to fruition from it. Power School, we are, for the first time since I think our second year, going to be bringing Power School out to do some training for our office staff. We purchased some additional plugins to kind of make Power School run a little bit more efficient on our side. So we're going to be we purchased the fees plugin and the attendance plugin, which will hopefully save us time in terms of the manual tracking of attendance and communications with parents, because the attendance plugin kind of makes that a little bit more automated. So once a student hits a certain number, the parents are automatically notified, which currently is happening manually from the office end. So Shannon's going to be coming out on the 3rd and doing some on-site training for our office staff. There's a DOE webinar about new teacher recruitment. A few years ago, they switched from the job bank to a different platform for online applications and resumes. It lasted a year, and then they went back to the job bank. They are making a switch again to a different platform. I believe it's called Nimble. I sat in on one of the webinars. It sounds more promising than the last one, but we'll just have to wait and see once it's unrolled as we get into the new year. But the idea behind it is that you can post jobs, you can track resumes, you can even make an automated online application. And some of it will be free, and some of it and school districts would have to buy into. But they shared some information on that. Teacher Appreciation Grant, we received $19,106.27 total. Those teachers who returned from last year rated as highly effective received $680.52. Those rated as effective, $516.38. 24 staff were rated as highly effective, and 5 as effective from last year who returned this year. The stipends were already shared. The 2021 quarter 1 lunch, we actually made a little bit of money for the first quarter, which doesn't often happen for us. First quarter, of course, is a little skewed because August isn't a full month. July, there's no school. So we'll be curious to see kind of what that breaks down to for the second quarter. But we've been loosely comparing the reimbursement and the series bill every month. And they're equal, if not in our favor of the reimbursement. So things are looking good in the lunchroom in terms of finances. There's a school nutrition review Friday, February 4th, so they'll be on site, and Jennifer Howell will be working with Ceres on spearheading that process. And over to Mrs. Moore with the other administration news.
The 3rd episode of Discovery Dialogue took place on November 17th. It was recorded, so if you'd like to view it on our website,
As are all of them
yes, this is true.
via our YouTube channel.
We're pretty cool. This episode was focused on school climate and community. Our next Discovery Dialogue will take place in January, and we are wanting to see, we might do it live, like walking around the building live.
Well, I mean, they're already live, but yeah, like
Walking
a
around
Blair
the building.
Witch in
Yes.
the woods,
Oh.
in the weeds of things.
We'll see.
You never know what can happen.
After school.
Family-friendly school update, we received and reviewed student surveys, and we distributed surveys to staff on December 5th. So we'll be reviewing the results of staff surveys in January, and we'll work on finalizing the rubric for submission. Very excited about that. Committee updates, professional development staff recently attended the Patents Conference on November 17th and 18th. That's traditionally geared towards servicing our special education students, increasing accessibility, and incorporating technology. Third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers and our high ability teacher attended the Indiana Association for the Gifted Conference on December 6th and 7th. Upcoming PD, teachers in grades 4 through 8 are attending VU's Building Engaged Readers and Writers on February 10th. Typically, they only include the younger grades. So it's exciting that the older grades feel like they can participate. Through the Indiana Department of Education, they shared with us PlayWorks. It's Experience the Power of Play. We set up that PD for March 18th. Our professional development committee for our school was very excited about this free PD offered to us that the state received through grant money, right? Yes.
Yeah, somebody else is paying for it.
Yes, it's free, so we're excited. Planning STEM PD, based on feedback also from the PD committee, they surveyed staff, and that is what they would like to receive. Curriculum data. Curriculum staff will be attending a math textbook caravan in January, and staff will be reviewing social studies curriculum materials. For data, middle of the year STAR results were just reviewed with our specialists, our math and reading specialists, and our place-based sustainability committee. Recycling Middle School has been doing a great job emptying recycling twice a week. We have our seasons board. It's focused on evergreens right now. Project Wingspan, working on organizing seed collections for 2022-2023. And Mrs. Hanson's 4-H Club, this is their goals for the rest of the year, is planning to start a community garden in the raised beds by the bees. And then produce could go to the needy in our community. STEM, I met with the state on December 9th to discuss STEM curriculum and standards. Our committee is continuing to work through the rubric to become STEM certified. Special events policies. The committee discussed allowing students to dress down again for birthdays, just a reminder to everybody about that, and planning upcoming events such as the readathon. Social emotional update from Ms. Medley, Body Safety Parent Night. There were 18 to 20 parents that participated. That's the most we've ever had. And then all students were provided a presentation. The Angel Tree 12 families signed up. So a total of 14 families and 36 children were included. The coat drive was a big turnout. Let's see here. Oh, you mentioned Jenna and Lisa. Coordinate with Pine Elementary School to donate the rest of the coats. It's great. Social emotional learning will continue into the second semester. SEL Wednesdays, that's in the classroom, provided by the teachers. Started a couple of group big emotions, coping, impulse control for kindergarten, upcoming groups for third grade girls on friendship. Those aren't needed, are they? And another group for girls in being mindful. And the groups will start after the new year. There's a second intern coming from IUN. We're very excited about that. So there will be an intern with Ms. Medley every day of the week in the second semester. Thank you to PAC and the board for all your support throughout the year. This is from Ms. Medley, and happy holidays. Discipline report, October, it would be October, November. Technology violations 3, detention 6, in-school suspensions 8, out-of-school suspensions 12. That was October. November, technology violations, 2, detentions 15, in-school suspensions 5, out-of-school suspension 9. That's it.
I think the student count trend is very encouraging. I don't remember when we last had an increase in student count between September and February.
Yeah, it's hard. COVID messes up my memory on how that's played out over the last, prior to
I don't
COVID.
know that,
But it's either, I think you're right, I think it's either sustained or went down.
I think it's because of our committee.
what do you mean? The 514
Because of our.
in September will increase in February.
Yeah, no, I mean, pre-COVID, I think it's always either flatlined.
Oh, yeah, no,
From-
I think it eroded a little bit. I think it did.
Yeah.
It's a good trend.
Well, I mean, we've done obviously a lot more marketing and promoting things,
Starting to show.
making ourselves more available too with tours, so I think a lot of that was a big help with when we formalized the position of Jen Howell. Yeah.
Good help with students.
She's been good, at least on my end.
Yeah, and I know Pamela helps a lot with getting pictures too, and sometimes she's not able to, so. Good team effort.
Development.
So the brake pavers have been installed. Our ending profit was $8,551.88. That was simply of the pavers. Which is a great starting point. There's plenty of space there for us to continue to add on. I think going into it, we all knew that we were going to make this a long-term process, a cycle of continuing to add bricks. There was 88 bricks, I believe, was our total. So, special thank you to all those families and individuals, both current and past, because there were a good number of former families that purchased bricks too, that participated in that, and there's still opportunity for people to buy those bricks. The sales will be added in the spring. There's no point in putting them up now, because they would just go down. But yeah, it looks really nice. It feels very solid, and would be a great place for kids to hang out with at recess and teachers to spend time with once it's covered with the shade sails. I think our total balance for the development account is just over 13,000. We had the 26.5 from that last Dow before COVID. That's been sitting there, so we knew we had that to pay for the paver project. And then so now we can just continue to build the paver project and return to looking at repurposing the barn space. I think is what our next step is, of course, with the continued marketing. So we did the turkey trot. Some of us actually did the turkey trot. It was my first 5K. It was rough.
You walked.
I walked and jogged. I jogged maybe half of it. I don't run at all, so yeah, it's not easy. Running is tough. Kudos to anyone who enjoys running, because I don't. We've got the Christmas tree downtown, Chesterton, with the Kiwanis. I don't know, what else am I missing?
We did the kindergarten,
The kindergarten night,
which was good.
there was a scavenger hunt and gifts involved, goodies, takeaways.
Ticonderoga pencils, the
Mm.
good ones,
Oh, boy.
the good ones.
We're going back on the 49 billboard for January and February, the digital one, so we'll go back on that.
Oh, and we stopped paying for the one on 8094.
In September, we stopped
We
paying.
stopped paying for it, we've gotten 2 students from it.
It's still there though, because I'm guessing they've had no one,
I'm gonna,
No,
Take
they
the
don't have- they don't
space.
have
I
space.
Yeah.
look all the time, it was still there.
yeah, so it's free.
I wondered how.
So drive by all you want, it's there.
Wow.
September was the end.
Yeah,
That's fine.
September was our last, was when we paid off. Paid the last one.
Finance?
Oh, as Ernesto mentioned, we met to discuss the internet decision and filled out the rubric that he went over, so that was our last meeting.
Thanks, guys, for doing that. Policy?
Was the bylaws, I don't think we have anything immediately on our radar then, which is good.
Kelly?
Sure. Since our last PEC meeting,
board meeting. We've been busy as usual. A few highlights. Had helped facilitate a hike with Dan Plath, National Park Ranger. That was really fun. That was over Black Friday, and I got a really positive feedback, so maybe we'll do something like that again. We took part in the Duneland Twilight Parade. Vanessa wasn't feeling well, so we had a substitute conductor, but it worked out, and it was a beautiful night, and it was fun.
He made up for it today.
You ran.
Yeah, I had.
It wasn't me, I don't know why everyone thinks it was me.
That's awesome.
How many people did you get at the hike?
At the hike, I'm not sure. I didn't. My husband went.
I would say about 50. It
and
was
they're
good. There was two different, they had two
Groups.
different rangers that took them.
Oh, that's a lot.
And they donated food and hygiene products too as well, so it was like a double good thing. So then after the parade, let's see, we decorated the space and we provided a hot chocolate bar for staff earlier this month. We had 2 give backs, one at Five Below and one at Gilbert's Candy Shop here in Chesterton, which is a family here at school. Our biggest purchase we made was we purchased teacher wish list from the book fair. It was a little over $1,000. They were really happy about that. And we started a new fundraiser we've never had before, so I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. I asked Mrs. Hanson if she would lead a cocoa and canvas at home. So the kids take home these kits that I'm selling for $14, and there's a video where they can paint what Mrs. Hanson leads them to paint. She did an awesome job. She sent me the video today. It's like, this is gonna be, like, you created a monster, because we're gonna want this again. And I sold over 160 of those kits so far, and I'll give them out on Friday. And then we have our class parties, thank goodness we get to have them this Friday. So if anybody is around, pop in the afternoon. We'll be having all kinds of fun around here with lots of volunteers and special party winter fun things going on. And I think that's about all for right now. Oh, I was saving that, but
I have one thing too, the case was settled.
yeah, I was saving that a recognition for Lisa, but feel free to pass this beautiful piece of paper around.
So she'll be paying $500 a month minimum.
That came out today.
And she has to pay $25,000 within the first 2.5 years. She'll be on probation for 5 years, and then, so that's the first felony. The second felony, she'll be on probation another 2.5 years, and she'll have to pay $25,000 by the end of that, with a minimum of $500 a month. All of her bonuses from work or taxes will all have to come towards her restitution, or go towards her restitution.
And
It's done.
they're done, and the judge is like, yeah. It will be coming from, not directly from her, yeah, it'll be coming from the court every month. I think it's soon, she's supposed to make her first
The
payment.
first payment will be from whatever's left of her bond after the parole and whatever else, court expenses. Then they will send the rest of it to us. I don't know what her bond was, I don't remember. I'm sure we could look at it.
But the judge also set a date for 9 months from now for a status hearing, just to make sure she's keeping up, because I think you really want to keep tabs on her.
And thanks to Heather, she gave a victim witness
Yes.
statement, or victim impact.
Not a dry eye, well, except for one.
Stone face. Thank you. Recognition?
I was gonna thank Lisa.
That,
Yeah.
yeah. All the,
Holy cow.
that's a lot of time, you know, over 4 years. A lot of less of space in your mind as well, you know, to sacrifice for somebody else's evil. So thank you so much for that, Lisa.
Glad you had a good afternoon.
I want to thank Pamela for leading our staff through this first semester of back to normal as much as we could. So I think it's been a very successful return in person. And I think obviously that's evident by the fact that our numbers have stayed close to where we want and they continue to increase. And then all of you, I left some advanced access to the Discovery Hawks and Discovery Compass patches. I think we discussed we're gonna sell them when we return in January. Make those available to families. And then just a couple of sweet treats. Thanking you all for
Thank you
everything.
very much.
So thank you.
And you know the number one question will be, can we just get a t-shirt and iron it out?
What could we
No.
put them on?
Well, there are already bootlegs out there.
Very cool.
And I want to just recognize everybody, I brought some sweet treats too. So I'm in my little bag here, I need to appreciate one, Merry Christmas and thank you for doing all the extra, you know, board work is extra time and it's just really, it's nice that everyone's willing to volunteer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody good with the January meeting, the 19th?
I'm so far away.
Justin, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Jessica, I'll save you a candy bar.
Oh, James asked me what was in the bag, and so I told him candy, and he's like, I really like candy.
Yeah, he called me on his way home from school, and he was like, Mom, the real Santa came to school, and I got 2 presents. And I was like, can I open yours? Yeah, but the chocolates in the car, he told me they were very delicious.
Oh,
That's sweet.
Well, hopefully he saves you some.
He did, I told him he had to.
Good.
All right, meeting adjourned at 7:29.
No, I would.
You do have all the paperwork you need to see now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's not me.